Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host. I go by the name of Snooze, and I'm here with my boy Hype Man Vic. Hype Man Vic, how you doing?
Doing good. I'm ready to get into this. Ready to continue drinking because today the whiskey is Hibiki Harmony, a Japanese whiskey. Delicious, fruits and
Nuts?
oak, fruits and nuts, and a little bit of a lychee. If you ever had it, for all you internationals there.
Okay, well, it sounds like we're going a little fancy today. Hope you don't get too drunk, or maybe you get drunk, whatever. And of course, we
Kinky
always
extended.
have our boy Daniel on the ones and twos in the background. Daniel, shout out to you. All right, and today, folks, we are talking Euro 2024, a big competition this summer that's going to keep us all interested and invested in European soccer while the actual league play, the club play, is away. And what we're going to do is we're going to break down each group. We're going to go team by team and tell you a little bit about their history at the Euros, recent form, some key players to watch for, the betting odds, and then a little bit of the reasons why we're watching them and why you should be watching them as well. And so we're going to kick it off in Group A. Group A includes Germany, Switzerland, Hungary, and Scotland. And we'll start right up top with the tournament hosts, Germany. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to keep this as concise as possible to 5 minutes, but some of these clubs are a little bit bigger, more to talk about, but we're going to try to keep it to 5 minutes. So, starting with Germany, they're hosting the tournament. So, of course, they didn't have to qualify, which means that they had a lot of friendlies in the past year and a half. And the last time they were here, they finished second in the group of death behind France, finished with 4 points in the group stage, and they were knocked out in the round of 16 against England. And at the time, it was a bit of an upset. I think it would have been a disappointment of going out of the round of 16, but losing to England, maybe not as much. But they've won the tournament 3 times, though, 1972, 80, and 1996. And they're hoping that they can win their 4th on home soil. So we'll see how that all unfolds. But for right now, Victor, tell us how the form that they've been in the last 8 to 10 matches has gone.
Well, in 2023, it didn't start off too well in the summer. It started off early June with a 3-3 draw against the Ukraine, and then rattled off 2 straight losses against Poland and Colombia. So not great. They did go into the not spring. They did go into the fall with a 4-1 thrashing from Japan. So not a great start there, but they did rattle off 2 quick wins against France and the United States of America. We don't got to worry about that. I believe the United States of America was Nagelsmann's first game as a coach as well. So I would say
That's not
the
good.
United States, that's the best thing you could ever do in your life. That's amazing. So um, after that miracle of a win, they went to Mexico and had a 2-2 draw, but did finish out pretty poorly. They lost to Turkey and Austria to close out the fall. This year, though, looking pretty good. They did get a 2-1 win against the Netherlands and then had a 0-0 draw against Ukraine. And just the other day, had a 2-1 win against Greece. So going off on a win, headed into the Euros on a win, hard to beat that.
Yeah, in talking about their form last year, obviously not a great year according to German standards. But when we're talking about 2024, beating France and Netherlands, that's nothing to sneeze at. It's actually a really good way to go into this tournament. So it'll be interesting to see, with the recent results, how they go into this tournament as far as confidence goes. But with that said, let's go into a few of the key players to watch out for. Tony Kroos is going to be one of the main ones to watch for Germany. He's coming out of retirement for this tournament, going to help settle down and control that midfield. He's also, because he's retiring and everybody knows it, this is going to be his last tournament as a professional. So he's going to be a leader out there, but then also kind of like a talisman for that German country and the players in that tournament as well. We also have Jamal Musiala, just turned 21 back in February. He's already one of the best midfielders in the world for Bayern Munich. And then, unfortunately, we have Kai Havertz because he tore it up for Arsenal last year. And especially in the second half of the season, the guy really came into form, and he's hoping to carry that over into the Euro 2024. But the young talent to watch for, we all know him. He's Florian Lil Uzi Verts. He just turned 21. He's attacking midfielder for Bayer Leverkusen. Scored 18 goals and 20 assists across all competitions for them last year. He really just plays that perfect number 10 role, and he can create from that attacking midfield position. But the reason that you want to watch him is because he is so smooth with the ball. And when he's gliding through defenders, it's like knife through butter. It's really, really fun to watch. But with all of that said, let's go over to the sports books. Vic, what's it looking like in the betting world?
Well, I'll tell you what, the betting world is seeing a little Uzi Verts play too, because they have them finishing in the best of their group at a negative 250. So should be winning that group if you put your money there. Odds to win the overall Euros are third best behind England and France at a plus 550. So still a pretty good bet. I mean, they're the home country. They should have a lot of momentum going in, home field advantage, all that stuff. So if you're into that kind of thing, you degenerates, they're your numbers.
All my degenerates. And speaking of that, let's take it to the word on the street. Um, with this German team, there's a lot of cautious optimism. I think the past year plus of results have been pretty horrible, like we talked about earlier. But with the new era of young talent and them being the host nation, like Vic was just talking about, I think it really looks like most people are saying they're destined to be at least in the semifinals. If they were to miss out of the semifinals and get beat in the quarters or even the round of 16, I think that would be a disappointment. But really, a lot of people are hoping this team can pull off the win on home soil for their fourth Euro championship. And a little bit of why I'll be watching, well, that's to see Wirtz, of course. We talked about it. He's continuing to make his presence felt at Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, but let's see him do it on the biggest stage. And if he can do it here at Euro 2024, I really think he's going to put a stamp on his name as being one of the best in the world and start to be known a little bit more around the globe, not just in Germany and in Europe. Also, I'm a big Stuttgart guy. I have a friend he's from Stuttgart. He got me into them a few seasons ago, and I watched them go through that relegation battle where they got promoted through the playoffs, and they barely stayed in, to go to this season where they're in the Champions League. They're second place. They finished above Bayern Munich. It's just insane. And in that German squad, there's the only team that has more players in that squad than Stuttgart is Bayern, which is crazy to think about just 2 years from where we were about to get relegated. And yes, I use the word we because my heart's in it now. So here's some reasons why you should be watching this German team in the Euros. Well, they're hosting the Euros, and really you're going to be looking at that screen and you're going to be seeing all these German people going crazy, hearing them every time they're out on the pitch. The atmosphere is going to be electric. It's going to be really, really insane out there. And I'm hoping that can really push that team on to get the victory. Because not only is the team really good, but they also have Toni Kroos, who we just talked about a little earlier. He's retiring after this. He already was retired. He came back for this tournament. So to see them do that for Toni Kroos to win it, oh man, it's a fairy tale ending, and it would be awesome to see happen. We'll see if it does. And the last thing is their coach, Julian Nagelsmann. He's 36 freaking years old. That is older than me, of course. But where were you guys when you were 36? Were you coaching the German national team at the Euro Championships?
First off, you're 35. Don't act like it's a lot older than you, right? But at 36, I was right here talking to you guys.
All right. Well, okay. Well, tune in to see a young stud of a coach. And if he can get this championship, man, he's going to really start cementing his legacy in that German national team. Okay. Vic, I know we've talked a lot about this team, but tell us some reasons why you're watching this team.
Well, one is excitement. This team is going to go full speed the entire time, and that's probably because 65% of their highways are Autobahn, which means they have no speed limit. So they're full pedal to fucking metal the entire time. I don't know if we can cuss yet, but pedal to metal the entire time. Not only that, the absolute best reason whatsoever so far is because we all went to Oktoberfest, and that was the best time from what I can remember. Best times of my lives.
Yeah,
it was awesome. I think Daniel, our DJ Daniel back there on the ones and twos of podcasting, fell down and slipped. It was pretty funny. That's one of the best memories I have, and it was great. It was great.
So. Yes, great memory. He busted his ass in the rain. Great time, and we'll do it again. I say we will do that again because we will, and. If there is ever a reason to root for another country, then, having the best night of our lives, that's probably a really good reason. If you haven't been, go. Oktoberfest is amazing. And go Germany in the Euro 2024. Let's win this thing. All right. We've wrapped up Germany. Moving right along to Switzerland. Switzerland qualified by finishing second in their group behind Romania with a record of 4 wins, 5 draws, and 1 loss. And how did they do the last time they were here? They usually do pretty good. So they finished third behind Italy and Wales, but advanced to the knockout rounds. And they ended up upsetting France in the round of 16 on penalties, which is crazy to think about this time around that happened. And then they got beat by Spain in the quarterfinals. And actually reaching the quarterfinals, that is their best ever finish in the Euros in 2020. And so, with all that said, let's take a look at some of the form that they've been in going into this tournament, Vic.
Yeah, thank you. In the form they had last summer, qualifying for the Euros, they did have one win against Andorra, but a bunch of ties past that. Tied against Romania. Going into the fall, they tied against Kosovo. They did rattle off a pretty good win against Andorra again, 3-0 in the fall. But after that, just fell into three straight ties against Belarus, Israel, and Kosovo, ending the year with a 1-0 loss against Romania. This year, though, in 2024, they've been at it with some friendlies. Started off this March with a 0-0 draw against Denmark. Did get a win against the Republic of Ireland. Just a few days ago, had a 4-0 win, actually dominating against Estonia. And as of this taping right now, are in a 1-1 draw with Austria. So that's going on right now. They're in the 51st minute and hopefully break through and get a really good step off into the Euros and go in with the win. So hopefully they can do that, and let's see.
Yeah, looking at the form, having one loss in a calendar year, that's phenomenal. But it's just to see that many draws is kind of concerning, because you're looking at the draws they had. It wasn't against some of the big guns. So what happens when they play some of the teams that are going to be really taking the game to them? We'll have to find out. But
And
let's
also
go into
those are
some key
for
players.
sorry, but also those are for qualifying matches. They're not really friendlies on a bunch of those draws. So that's when you want to put the competition, or that's when you're facing some competition. You want to put it to them so you can get through. And they're starting to get in the right form and everything. So hopefully they'll run straight into the Euros with that.
Well, the best way that they're going to do that is with some of these key players we're going to talk about here. That's professional. We have Xherdan Shaqiri, plays for the MLS for Chicago Fire, second in caps all time for Switzerland, only behind the next key player, Granit Xhaka. He's El Capitan. He's the anchor in that midfield. He's been in top form for Leverkusen last season. And we also have Manuel Akanji, the center back for Man City. We've seen him running out there with the cool dreads. Cemented in the lineup, cornrows, by the way, not dreads. Cemented in that lineup on one of the best teams. And at this point, it's one of the best teams of all time. Some of the young talent to watch for, it's really tough because Switzerland, they don't really have a young squad at the moment. This is kind of the end of their golden years, which, that's debatable. But it really comes down to a couple of players. And the one that we're going to highlight today is, his name is Zeki Amdouni, and he's 23-year-old forward for Burnley. Last season, he had 6 goals and 1 assist across all competitions for Burnley. And while the stats don't really pop, he did start 27 matches for Burnley in the Premier League last year. So, yes, they were relegated, but that's a lot of experience when you're playing against some of the best players in the world week in and week out. And now let's take a look at some of these odds and the sports books. Vic, take it away.
Yeah, so the odds have Switzerland with the second best odds, finishing behind Germany, of course, powerhouse at a plus 550 to finish top of their group. I honestly wouldn't take that bet, probably not even with your money, Adam. So Germany's a really solid group. But odds to win the overall Euros are right in the middle of 12th best at a plus 6,600. So if you're a huge Switzerland fan, you got them in your heart, you want to put your money where your heart is, go ahead. But that's what we got for the sports books. We'll hit it back to you, Adam. Snooze.
All right, let's take a look at the word on the street. The word on the street is that they're consistently finding themselves out of the round of 16, so they're going to do it again. Many people thought that after some of the recent results that the coach Murat Yakin, he should have and would have been sacked by now, but here he is leading them again into a big tournament. So it feels like there's some bad vibes out there at the moment, just in some of the articles that I've been reading. But it's a hungry team that's ready to come out of the shadows. And when I say hungry, I mean the country hungry. So having them in a group, and everybody thinks we'll get into them in a bit, but a bit of a dark horse, it's just a bad sign, bad vibes, bad sign. And really, I think most people say they're going to get out of the round of 16, but not too much further. So why I'll be watching is they have the history of making out of the group, like we just talked about. They've been to the round of 16 the last 3 World Cups. They went to the round of 16 and the quarterfinals in the last 2 Euros. And in this tournament, we need to find out if that's changing. Are these final years of Xhaka and Shaqiri, is it happening now? Are they going to show their age, and are they going to start slipping up and this team not going to make it out of the group stage? They don't have a particularly sexy roster, and they're lined up in they did get limped through a weak qualifying group, so it's not like they were dominating everyone when they should have. So they might be getting, as you could say, Swiss cheesed up this round. Maybe. But let's go over some reasons why y'all should be watching. I don't know how many more tournaments we're going to see Xhaka and Shaqiri. So if you are a Swiss fan and you're going to put your money on them, like Vic was saying, this might be a great time to tune in and watch all their games, because they won't be wearing these health pack crests on their chest for too much longer. These guys are going to retire mid-30s now. So let's enjoy them while we have them. And if you're not a fan of Swiss cheese or anything like that, maybe you like the Alps, or maybe you like army knives. I think that's where those come from. So yeah, I don't know. Not too much more other than that. Vic, tell me why you're watching them.
First and foremost, because the Swiss Army knives that was my first knife. It had like 20 different functions. I don't remember what it was, but I used to keep it in my pocket, hidden from all the school teachers and everything. That's for one reason. Two is because they are going to be absolutely flying on the field. So this is an exciting team. And that's one, because they consume about 17.4 pounds of coffee per person a year. That's about 3 cups a day. They're going to be caffeinated out of their minds. Not only that, Switzerland has 122 Michelin-starred restaurants. So they're well-fed, caffeinated out of their minds. They're going to be in the best mood ever. And not to mention, got to see Shaqiri go off. Liverpool fan, red till I die. So going to be watching them all throughout the Euros.
Okay, well, I like some of those reasons, so that's fine.
This one, right?
Yeah, that one in particular. All right, let's keep this train rolling, and we'll be talking about Hungary. And how they got here is they won their qualifying group, going 5 wins, no losses, and 3 draws. The last time that they were in the Euros, they finished 4th in the group of death behind Germany, France, and Portugal. They did manage to draw against France and Germany, finishing with 2 points, though. A lot of people going into that tournament assumed that they would just be getting 0 because, powerhouses in front of them. But to get 2 points and nick a couple points off of France and Germany, that's big time. So their best ever finish at the Euros, though, was actually way back in 1964. They finished in 3rd place. But because that was a long time ago, let's look at something a little bit more recent, and that was actually getting to the round of 16 in the 2016 iteration of the Euros. So they were beaten by Belgium 4-0. No big deal there. I'm going to talk about that. But going into this tournament, they are assumed to be one of the dark horses. So let's take a look at the form and see how they've been doing. Vic, take it away.
Yeah, they've been actually looking really good. As of 2023, they had, for Euro qualifying last summer, had a draw and then a win against Lithuania 2-0. They actually haven't lost all of 2023. They had another draw against the Czech Republic. Did win against Serbia, rattled off 2 draws against Lithuania and Bulgaria, and then had another, just to finish out the year, had a 3-1 win against Montenegro. For 2024, they've been playing some friendlies here just to get in shape for Euros. They've had a 1-0 win against Turkey and another 2-0 win against Kosovo earlier in the spring, in March. Yeah, it's spring. Although they did take their first loss just a couple days ago against Ireland with a 2-1 loss, and as of right now during this taping are beating Israel 3-0. So looking to go into good form with a thrashing of Israel and step into these Euros with a really good mindset, positive mindset.
And if you are talking about reviewing form to see how they be going into a tournament, you can't do too much better than going undefeated in a calendar year, essentially. I mean, they just lost to Ireland, but you get my point before that. So it looks like they're going in with some confidence. Hopefully they beat up on Israel and then they get a little bit of that confidence back. But let's look over at some of the key players to watch. Um, this is going to pain me with Victor wearing that kit over there, but really, the key player, their best player to watch, is gimme few, gimme five, gimme Dominic Zabazla. That's my boy right there. 23 years old. He's been a stud since moving to Liverpool from Leipzig, playing in that midfield role. He's a versatile player. He's good on the ball. He's good off the ball. He's good going forward. He's good tracking back. Um, Really, he's just a fantastic player. The good thing is the good thing about this Euro is that he was injured last time out and he didn't get to play. So this will be a really big tournament for him. I'm happy to see how he does out there, and I know he's excited as well. We also got Roland Salai for Freiburg. He's typically set up on that right wing, so he should be linking up with Zabaslai a ton. And then the young talent to watch for, he's Milas Kirkis. He's 20 years old, left back for Bournemouth. He started 22 games for them in the Premier League last season, and he's a young, raw talent at left back, but he loves getting forward. And now with a season of Premier League experience under his belt, it'll be fun to see how he plays against some of the bigger clubs or the bigger international teams at this tournament with that experience at the club level. With that said, I'm wondering now what the money is saying about this dark horse. So, Victor, tell us a little bit about the odds.
Yeah. Well, the odds makers have them third best in their group, obviously behind Germany and Switzerland with a plus 700 to finish on the top of their group. Overall odds to win the Euros, a little worse than halfway, 14th best odds at a plus 8,000. So, not the best odds you got, but if you're Hungarian and you really believe in it, I'm not going to stop you if you want to go and bet for them. So, not too bad. But that's what's going on in the sports books. What about in the streets, Adam? What are you hearing in the streets?
All right, word on the street, and I've been keeping my ears to the street for this team because a lot of people are saying that they're going to be a dark horse, and the reasons why is because they're a cohesive unit. They have longevity in that squad with their coach. He's been there for 6 years, and even though there's not a ton of star power, that longevity with the coach makes them really a team, a unit, which isn't easy to find in an international squad, right? Because they're usually with their clubs the entire year. But it seems like a lot of people believe that they're going to get to the round of 16 at minimum, and they could be a sneaky quarterfinals team if everybody is to be believed out there. But let's go over some reasons why I'll be watching them. Do you know any hungry Italians? Because they don't really exist here, and it's because nonas, because of pasta, cheese, and all that great food out there in Italy. But I'll tell you who is a hungry Italian, and that is the head coach of the Hungarian national team, Italy's own Marco Rossi. This guy made a statement at Euro 2020 with some great results considering a tough competition. And you may be thinking, great results? What are you talking about? They finished last in the group. Well, they did that in the group of death without Dominic Szoboszlai. So I'm not saying that with him healthy, they would have gone super far and gotten out of the group of death.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying this time they ain't in the group of death. And Rossi is hungry for more. So I'm excited to be watching that. A lot of hype. Let's see it. Let's do it. Some reasons why you should be watching this team. Well, not only is Szoboszlai good at football, but the dude is handsome. If you want to see a sweaty, devilishly handsome young Hungarian man, tune in. Trust me, he's a good-looking guy. And with so many people deeming this team a dark horse, it's really easy to root for them because those teams you want to tune in, you want to see how they do from the get-go. Like, can they start off strong? Can they put up a few good showings and go into those knockout rounds on really good form, right? All of that is super exciting. This is the reason you watch this tournament, is for teams like this. Germany's going to be good. Spain and Italy, they're going to be great. England. But this team with a lot of hype, it's something you definitely want to tune in, because if they start tearing it up, you want to be able to watch them go from the first match on to that championship when they win this thing, baby. You don't want to just hop in on the bandwagon last minute. And also from The Athletic, they are talking about a 22-year-old striker named Christoph Horvath. This guy, he's making his first appearance at a major tournament, and it's going to cap a remarkable personal story. At the age of 13, Horvath was diagnosed with lymph gland cancer, and he was close to death. And after a 4-month battle, he pulled through, and 4 years later, here he is. His football talent has started to show and he's been noticed by Serie A side Torino, and look at him now. He's on his way in the biggest stage, and so congrats to Christopher Horvath. It's going to be really cool to see this guy get out there and get some game time in these Euros. And with that said, Vic, tell us why you're watching this team.
I'll tell you why I'm watching him. One is, we can't say his name enough. Dominic Szoboszlai. Great, awesome player. Handsome man, like you pointed out. It's amazing. But also, did you know that the Hungarians have cowboys? I believe they're called Sikos. There's a bunch of ranches. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. It just seems like it fits, right? Like it's gotta be it. But if they do not do good, another thing that would be kind of fitting that I really want to watch is if they get beat, is because that's where the Rubik's Cube was invented, was Hungary. And if you've ever messed with a Rubik's Cube more than like 15 seconds, I just want to throw it into a wall. So I'll keep that in mind in case they're losing. No, we'll see how it goes. But either way, win or lose, I'm gonna be watching them. It's a young team. It's gonna be really good to see them flying around.
That you can't get better analysis than that, guys. That's why you tune into the No Business Soccer podcast. You think of these toys, these random objects that are just around in life, and you never really think about their origins. I would have never, ever thought that the Rubik's Cube started in Hungary. So that's awesome. All right. Keeping this train rolling here, we got Scotland. They qualified for Euro 2024 by finishing second in their qualifying group with a record of 5 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws behind Spain. And they did beat Spain 2-0 in Scotland, though. So what a result. And the last time they were here, they finished bottom of the tough group that included England, Croatia, and the Czech Republic with 1 point. Nothing to sneeze at, though. Getting a point out of that group, yeah. Hopefully they can do better this time around. Their best ever finish at the Euros, though, well, that's really just getting there 3 times, in 92, 96, and in 2020. They've never been out of the group stage. And in fact, out of a possible 27 points in 3 Euros they've been to, they've only managed 8 points. So not a particularly good track record when it comes to this tournament, but hopefully they're going into this one with some confidence. So Vic, what does that form look like for Scotland these days?
Yeah, form last year in the summer, they actually had 2 wins against Norway and Georgia. They did go into the fall with another one against Cyprus, but then rattled off 3 losses, but they are the most acceptable losses you could ever rattle off against England, Spain, and France. Absolutely worst, one of the worst runs you could have there. But did go bounce back with 2 draws after that against Georgia and Norway. But had another little skid with 2 other losses against the Netherlands and Northern Ireland. But they seem to be bouncing back. They got a 2-0 win against Gibraltar just a couple days ago on June 3rd, and then tied with Finland 2-2 just yesterday, June 7th, as of this taping. So looking pretty good. They're getting back from their skid that they had against Northern Ireland and the Netherlands, and hopefully getting into these Euros with a positive mindset and ready to just hit the ground running and get it turned around for them.
Get those bagpipes blaring, if you will.
Yeah, most beautiful musical instrument you could think of.
I wouldn't call it that, but okay. Well, let's go into some key players they have. I feel like we're just talking about the whole Liverpool squad at this point, but Andy Robertson.
That's okay.
There's not a lot to talk about this guy. He's one of the best left backs in the Premier League and in the world. Plays for Liverpool. Really good, really fun to watch. They also have John McGinn, central midfielder for Aston Villa. He's described as the heartbeat of the team, gives everything for the team. He's really that tone setter in that midfield. And then there's also Scott McTominay. He's the defensive midfielder for Manchester United, has a knack for scoring goals as well. He scored 7 goals for Manchester United last season from a defensive midfield position, and actually scored 5 throughout the Euro qualifiers as well. So maybe they're going to move him up the pitch a bit. No idea, but he seems to be doing a lot on that front end scoring for him. And then the best young talent for Scotland was going to be Ben Doak, but as of this taping, it looks like he's going to be injured. He's going to be out. So, you're not going to be able to talk about him. But that's fine. Check out Ben Doak when he's healthy. He plays for Liverpool. He's a right winger. Not going to get the experience in the Euros this time around, but poor guy. He'll get to it later. But moving right along, Vic, what do some of the betting odds say about Scotland, the powerhouse that is?
Yeah, the powerhouse of Scotland. Unfortunately, got them finishing last of their group. The sports bettors do it at plus 800. Overall, to win the Euros, 16 best odds. Well, I guess eighth worst odds. They actually tie with Ukraine again with a plus 10,000. So, moonshot there. Good luck if you do want to put your money on that. I will not be doing that. But
Probably
it
a
is
good
what it
thing.
is for them. Yeah, it is what it is for them. But anyway, that's what the sports books say. What are they saying out there on the street there, Adam?
Mostly positive going into the tournament, honestly, which looking at the form, you wouldn't think that it would be positive, but I think there's just a lot of excitement and buzz from all the interviews that I've been reading and watching. Even their head coach, if you look at their form, just scrolling back up here, we see that in the actual qualifying rounds, they're whooping people, going through it and getting all these wins. But when they're playing friendlies, not as good. And so the coach himself said their friendly form doesn't look good, but look at their record in competitive matches, and that's all that he cares about. So strong belief that this squad, that this really could be the year that they get out of the group stage finally. And really, a lot will be revealed to us on that opening match against Germany, because if they come out and they get beat 2-3-0 and dominated, then all that hype was for nothing. But yeah, mostly positive. Hoping to get out to the round of 16 at least. Not sure they'll get there. We shall find out. It's a tough group, and why I'll be watching is the same reason that y'all should be watching. The reason is Hattie Kuz. Did I say that good? Does that sound right? Hattie Kuz.
Sounds pretty good.
Some tatis scones and
Mm,
haggis. I love it
we're
all. It's
close to
great.
getting canceled.
And
That's a
and, and
hands
we
down.
should all be collectively getting behind our underdog English speaking brethren to realize their dreams and get the hell out of the group stage for the first time at a major tournament. I can hear the bagpipes blaring now. They're going to be having a lot of, well, they call it whiskey, we call it scotch. Man, I want to see this team do good, and if they're going to be doing good, I'm going to be watching them the whole way. So let's all get on board with this. England, they're done with. This is the team that we need to be getting behind. Scotland. So Vic, I'm sure you have a lot to say. Why are you watching this Scottish team?
I'll tell you what. I did want to drink some Scotch State just for this one, but this Century whiskey right here was just doing too good for me. But I do own a lot of scotches. I love Scotch. That's the one reason I'll be watching for Scotland. But the main reasons actually are just the absolute monuments of creatures they have, and that includes the Loch Ness monster. Everybody knows about the Loch Ness monster there. And did you know that their official animal is the unicorn? You might know that.
No, whoa, wow.
No. Not to mention that. Not to mention their biggest monster of all is the Scottish Warrior Drew McIntyre for WWE. The guy, I can't wait to be watching this. I'm gonna be thinking about Drew McIntyre, the absolute animal that he is, dropping some claymores on people and everything like that. But that's why I'll be watching Scotland. Bunch of monumental people, monumental animals, and should be fun to watch this year.
Okay, well, let's throw on some kilts and watch some soccer here. And that is it for Group A. We wrapped around. We told you everything about them, all the teams that are in there. Now we're going to discuss a little bit about how we think that this group is going to shape up. Um, Honestly, there's not a lot to get into as at the top. Germany is the obvious favorite. There's no denying that. They should win this group handily. The real thing comes down to who's going to be 2, 3, and 4. And I honestly just feel like Switzerland is on the downfall. I think that yes, they have the track record to get out of this group. They have a track record to get out of any group that they've been in recently, but I think this is the year that they don't. And I think that Hungary, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I think they're going to get second and get out of this group and go into the round of 16. And I have it Germany first, Germany in finishing first, Hungary second, Scotland third, and Switzerland at the bottom at fourth. Victor, how do you have it?
I'll tell you what, my heart has it Hungary first because my boy Dominic Sabazai. But
Oh,
if it was
come
for my
on.
money and and to be realistic, I got Germany winning this hands down. It's going to be great to watch them this year. What kind of form they're in. After Germany, I got Hungary, so I'll be hopefully getting Dominic Sabazai out of this round. I do differ with you though. I think Switzerland's going to be third best here. I think they got what it takes to at least get Scotland out of there and take care of business there. And I got Scotland finishing fourth. So we're pretty much on the same path except for the bottom two. So we'll
Yeah,
see. We got
yeah,
a couple of matches that are going to really tell us what's going on. So I'm
yeah.
going to
And when we're talking about how this group will be shaped and what matches are really going to decide the fate of the group, we've highlighted a couple, and we think it's going to come down to those Switzerland matches. Now let's take a look at some of the matches that are going to decide the fate of the group. We have match day 1, Hungary versus Switzerland. If it is time for Hungary to be that dark horse and to take that next step into the round of 16 with a healthy team, with that dark horse status, then they need to do it right out of the gate against Switzerland in their first game. This is going to be a very, very interesting game to watch. I can't wait for it. And then the second game that we're looking for is, again, that Swiss side, but against Scotland this time. Especially in this one, Victor and I are differing. We think that I think that Switzerland's getting fourth. He thinks they're getting third. Well, this will be a big match to show us who's going to be right. And that's on that second match day, June 19th, Scotland versus Switzerland. So we can't wait for it. We hope that you're excited as well. We thank you for tuning in. This has been the wrap up of Group A here on the No Business Soccer Podcast.
We do hope you join us again. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you think about this group. What do you think is going to happen if we are way off, or if we really have no business talking about that? We want to hear that as well. So, looking forward to interacting with y'all, replying to the comments, and we'll talk to y'all later.
Later.